Morning, Raptor Freak Alexiot's here. Saturday morning. That means it's time for the Saturday Share the Love Club. If you don't know the inspiration for the Share the Love Club, it's basically, how the whole year Scotty Barnes was giving people hugs and stuff like that. And at the end of the year, Gary Trent Jr. said in his interview at the end of the season, he says, "Yeah, Scotty's always running up to us and giving us hugs all the time and stuff like that." And he said, "I don't mind it. It's sharing the love, and we need more sharing the love in the world," is what Gary said. And I thought about what he said, and I was like, you know what? We're gonna make a share love club, and it'll happen on Saturdays where we pick a Raptors personality, a Raptor player, a Raptor, the coach, the GM, somebody to do with the Raptors, and we show appreciation and talk about the things that we like about them, the gratitude we have towards them, and what they've done for the Raptors team, and different things like that. And today's subject is the man who's been in all the trade rumors that are swirling this week, OG Anunoby. OG has played for the Raptors now for 5 or 6 years now. And let me look. I've got his Wikipedia open right here. He has played for us for 5 years now, y'all. And every single season that OG's played for the Raptors, his scoring average has gone up. Like, that is something that happens with certain players, that they have a growth over the years. And that has definitely happened with OG. He has put his scoring average a little bit higher each season. Last season was around 17 points. And I fully expect him to get it higher this season also. That if he could be just under 20 points or at 20 or just over, that'd be badass. G is here. G is saying, first thing in the chat, OG is an anchor. Yes, yes, I completely agree with this. At times this past season, he only played 46 games this season, that we were lost in some ways without him. It was kind of similar to when we didn't have Fred. There were a couple things that we missed that were intangibles, things that were important ingredients to our team to be the best version of our team. And we knew that. It was very, very apparent that the games when OG was missing, there were a couple of things that we love about him that we didn't have, we lacked. Yeah, Tom Duke is saying OG Raptor forever. Yes, this whole thing that Jake from State Farm stirred up this week is ridiculous. In fact, Stevie Roots sent me the article again yesterday. See. I'm like, well, listen, you can't just read the headlines, Steve, and your mom. You need to read the whole article, because they do clickbait these days, y'all. And you can't be lazy. You can't just read the headline, because in the headlines for this thing with OG this week, they basically put out this thing to clickbait you into clicking it. And then they go into the article and they say, well, this is not actually true. That's basically what they're saying. It's like, well, we don't really have a real source or anything like that. The thing about it is, basically they see our team's makeup, they see the roster, they see a lot of guys that are around the same level of talent, but really good talent. And they also see that they're young, that they're versatile, that they're all like kind of like similar in size, and that they all have all around talent. And they look at us and they say, this team has riches. Like, they have young potential riches on their team, and they want to come and mine our gold mine. In fact, somebody put it this way on Twitter this week, and I thought it was the best description of how the NBA media and other teams, the press, look at the Raptors. They think we're a flea market. That was the term that this lady used on Twitter. It's like, motherfuckers be thinking the Raptors are a flea market. Because of the way they treat us with the trade rumors and stuff like that. We're not a flea market. You can't come here and get discounts on the people that are on our team. And this is the thing. They think in their heads that he's disgruntled or unhappy with his role because they see Scotty Barnes, the emergence of him as a rookie of the year. They know Pascal Siakam's all NBA, and he does certain things. They see Gary Trent Jr. lurking around. They see Fred VanVleet, and they think this is too rich for a team like the Raptors, that they can't have this much good stuff. So what do we get from them? Ooh, OG, he must be unhappy. So let me just write that down on a piece of paper, even though I didn't hear that from anyone. I didn't have no source for it. It's just, makes sense to me, because they have so many of these players that they wouldn't be able to fit them all together, and one of them has to be unhappy. And the odd man out to me looks like OG. So I'm going to write it on this piece of paper that OG Anunoby is disgruntled with his role on the Raptors, which is absolute bullshit. And it was shot down right away by Scotty Barnes coming out and saying sources closer say this is bad news, that this is not true in any kind of way. Tom Duke's saying he doubled down, that Fisher dork. He did double down. I heard some of the stuff he's saying. If you're mad at me for spreading this stuff, don't be mad at me. Now, listen, his whole point of view, because I am listening to him, is that he said that he's talked to front office officials around the league that have been in talks with the Raptors about OG. Now, this is what it is that these other teams are calling the Raptors. The Raptors are not calling them. The Raptors are not putting him on the trading block and saying he's available. It's basically that people are coming with their normal chat calls and like trade calls and saying, hey, what would it take for us to try and get OG from you? And then they're trying to go back and forth that way. And, of course, Bobby Webster's going to take that call and hear them out and see what they have to offer. And it may not be realistic. It may be that he's like, this is the thing they don't realize. We really overvalue. I wouldn't say overvalue. We really value OG. We don't overvalue him. He's worth it. It's just that you guys undervalue him in your eyes and think that we undervalue him also. But y'all aren't paying attention. Masai Ujiri gave him one of the best compliments in the world. If he could have 15 OG Anunobys on this team, he would. If he could have 15 Precious Achuas on this team, he would. And that's the reason why we have such a glut, concentration of these kind of players that I just described. The positionless middle do everything kind of guys. This is very on purpose. And why would we take the prototype guy of the guys that we're trying to copy and have a whole bunch of on the team and trade him out of here? You better be sending us something good, and it better be a home run for sure. There better not be any kind of worry about whether they're going to do something. So you got to separate the idea between OG's unhappy and he wants to get out of here. No, that's not true. But it may be true that Bobby Webster is entertaining offers and hearing what other teams are willing to do to try and get him. But they are not actively pushing him to get out of here. They are not saying he's on the trading block. And if people have offers, come and see us. People are soliciting them for talking to them about it. And that's the thing Jake doesn't understand is that if the GM of the Hornets calls up and says, hey, what's going on with OG? Can we get OG? Is he disgruntled? And then Bobby Webster's is like, no, he's not. There's nothing wrong with OG. And he's really not on the trading block, but we would like to hear what you have to say. And then boom, that's all it is. And then, Jake from State Farm talks to a Charlotte guy and he says, hey, what happened with you and the Raptors? Said, oh, we talked to them about OG. Oh, so and then he thinks that there's trade talks. It's basically something like that is what this whole thing is this week. It's really stupid. Tom's saying, I knew he was going to be fun right from his draft night interview when he danced to watch me whip, nay, nay. Yes, Tom Duke. All right, this is a good part to get into this segment of the OG Love Fest. Is let's just talk about the amazing moments that we've had with OG on our team so far, and the many more we can think about having with him because he's not going anywhere, y'all. Like scarves, come on, those scarves, that whole scarf period with Serge and him, and that synergy between Serge and OG was really kind of like, if Jeannie Becker was doing fashion TV still, she would have needed to have an episode with Serge and OG on there because they were such a cool personality duo, and that their love for style and the way they were talking during that one clip when they were picking out clothes was hilarious. So I love the whole scarves motif when they gave everybody scarves on the plane and they all took a picture, and OG always had the biggest, like he had this crazy big scarf and it would come down his back and stuff like that. And then you got to think about moments like, what about when he drew the Drake owl? Like they had everybody draw the OVO owl for fun, and his owl looks so crazy to me. Like I described it at that time as looking like the Tootsie Roll Pop owl that's from the 70s cartoons, but on LSD. That he looked like that owl that OG drew was so badass. It was almost like expressionist. It was like some sort of crazy surrealist abstract art. is what OG made with that owl drawing. So amazing. And then who could forget OG in the bubble against Boston Celtics and that big game where he hit that huge three and helped us like win that game. Like, oh, amazing, amazing, amazing shot. Or at least helped us keep going in the game. And in the series. And he said after the game, I don't shoot to miss. I always shoot with the intention that I'm going to make it. And I was like, what a badass. He's like, he really is like an OG. Is that like, he like Ice-T would describe him, OG as an OG, is that he just came in there and he said it so coldly and like so unemotionally. When he hit that shot, he had no expression. He did. Everybody ran to him. They were jumping around and he's just like, this is what I was supposed to do. This is what you should have expected me to do, kind of thing. It was hilarious. So there's so many great OG moments. I mean, what do you like about Texas, OG? Come on now. What do you like about Texas? Tom Duke saying, yeah, arguing with Serge about fashion, still a classic. I mean, I almost want to just reacquire Serge next year to be on the bench just for that kind of fun stuff. Like, there have been a little bit of rumblings about reacquiring Serge this summer because it is possible. But I'm also kind of like, nah, that's a road we've already gone down. But then again, I'm also kind of like, well, this is a former champion for us. And this is somebody who has a lot of love in between the whole team and stuff. It's just Serge's role would have to be completely different this time. But getting Serge back with OG may be just worth it for that in itself. Is just having them together again. Oh my gosh. OG saying OG can fit on every team. He's that valuable. Yeah, this is part of the reason why people are coveting him. That listen, he's a kind of talent that's not just on one end of the court. That he really produces on both ends of the court at this point. Like his offensive game is the one that's really blossomed. His defensive game has always been really solid and really like good. And it's just been that he's gotten better and better each year. As I said, his scoring average has gone up each season that he's played. And that, even this season, we saw a little bit more aggression from him than in seasons past, that he kind of was, forcing his game on the other team in some ways. Sometimes it didn't look good because, maybe a turnover or because we're in a positionless scheme. Hang on. It says that I'm unstable. All right, here we go. One of the best things was looking for him in the low post and transition because we're in a positionless scheme, and he would get a small guard matched on him. And that bully ball underneath the basket was so fun to see, like him just get the ball and just muscle and put it in for really easy baskets. And if we continue to do the positionless scheme, which it totally looks like we will because it's been a success, that we should expect more bully ball this season coming up. And if you mix that in with the 3-point kickouts that we were talking about yesterday or a couple of days ago about how we like that he's a catch and shoot guy on the outside that gets kicked out to him instead of him trying to like drive himself, you put that in there and then you got this guy who can score all over the court. And I really love that he was more aggressive this year. We saw him just like Precious put the ball on the floor and go around guys and attack the rim. And I more and more of that, more and more bully ball, and just continuing to be precise and good with his 3-point shot. He's gonna be fantastic. And like I said, I think that he'll average almost 20 points, if not right at 20 points, and even improve more on his 17-point per game average this past season. So it's going to be fun. I know that, listen, if there is, God forbid, something does happen because the deal's just so good, that'll be heartbreaking. But next season, we need him in this core. He is such a glue guy, like you guys have said, that he's a glue guy on our defense, and he's just a really good X factor on our offense, that he can come in and do a couple of different things on offense that are very helpful and stuff like that. Yeah, geez, that's part of the reason why he's so sought after right now, is that he can fit in on any team. That is really like, he's not going to take away from other people. And that's part of the reason why they think maybe he's unhappy. It's like, listen, maybe he would be unhappy on the Celtics being that role or something like that, or the Lakers, but not with Toronto, because these are his dudes. He is such good friends with Pascal and Fred. It's like they don't understand The camaraderie and the real teammate kind of feeling on our team and the love between our players. That, these guys aren't just like guys that are millionaires and they show up and they play on a team together like some of the teams in the league. These guys are actually friends and they have like a lot in common and they really enjoy being around each other. And then you add in the whole fact that, like I said this week, Masai Ujiri acts like he's OG's dad. That he looks at Pascal and OG in particular as like his sons, and that he's not going to frivolously trade him away for nothing. Like he's going to make sure if he does trade him, it's going to be very much worth it. But he won't do it. I don't think he wants to. So they really would have to bring something absolutely incredible, like totally game changing for us. It would have to be similar to like the DeMar Kawhi trade. It may not be nice or we may not feel good, but it will bring somebody that will put us right at the top right away. And that kind of thing. That's the only way I would be okay with it. If we're trading him for somebody who's like mid-level, or somebody who's the same as him, like somewhere around his age, I'm not saying he's a mid-level talent. I'm saying that if we're getting mid-level talent in exchange for him, that's no good. That we need premium top of the league talent for him. That still on the promise end was, look, in July, he's going to turn 25. That's how young he is, y'all. We keep forgetting he's played 5 years for us now. He's only 25. And there's still some maturing and growth and just getting more comfortable as a vet in the league that he can get. Plus, maybe the refs will start giving him some favor at some point. Like, who knows? Let's see. Tom Duke's saying after he hit that shot, the way he walked away all dead inside, like it was very stone cold, like killer instinct kind of thing. It's just like, yeah, I expected this to happen. Why are y'all freaking out? This is just what I don't shoot to miss. Y'all need to understand that. And like, yeah, just such a badass in that way. And I want to see him do this again. That I know that he has it in him, that he's going to hit a huge shot for us, and we're going to go absolutely crazy again. And it'll be such a big moment and an important moment for us. I know it's going to happen again because he's just that kind of guy. Tom's also saying OG fits best on the Raptor squad. Pretty sure his teammates don't want to lose him either. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's right. Like, listen, he's a quirky dude. Like, it maybe in some ways, I mean, he probably would fit on any team, and I don't want to sell him short, but I don't think he would be as happy or have as much fun. Once again, it's the kind of thing where it's like, listen, he was drafted to our team. He's been on our team his whole NBA career. He knows no other thing other than playing for the Raptors. And that going somewhere else, the second one, is not always the best. Like, this is the reason why people fall in love with their first love and stay with them for the rest of their life, is that kind of stuff, that kind of duty, that kind of great feelings, because this is the first. This is your first. And I think that shouldn't be discounted in this situation with OG. And then also, really, we cannot understate his relationship with Masai. Masai and him really do have a deep relationship. You can tell, not necessarily from OG's end, but you can tell from Masai's end, just because of the way he talks about him. Like, we've noticed that he didn't talk about Gary Trent. He didn't talk about this person, but he definitely talks about OG and Pascal. Every single chance he gets to talk glowingly about them, he will. Tom Duke's also saying all his teammates, not just that rookie of the year guy. Yeah, all of his teammates probably like him. Like, I can see why Scotty really likes OG, because he's like a big brother, a guy that's kind of similar to him in some ways, like with their skills, and that it's kind of like he can teach him some of the things that was one of the things that he said when he came into Raptors training camp. Scotty said, I'm really impressed with OG and Chris Boucher. He said those two people in particular, that he had no idea the level of skill and how good these guys were until he got into practice and started working with them. So in some ways, Scotty's interesting because he has so much promise and so much possibility for his career, but he also is in awe of his teammates that are ahead of him. Like, Pascal is his hero in a lot of ways. You can tell that Pascal is like a hero to him. Fred, the same thing, and that he really respects the guys ahead of him, and that he may actually surpass as far as talent wise and everything by the end of it. But he really has a respect right now below them. And OG is one of them also. So yeah, oh man, OG's the best. And think about all the great clips of him in interviews and him just being like slightly awkward and people just like it's just part of his thing. He's just so lovable in that kind of way. And it's kind of cool because there's a whole generation of kids out there right now that kind of embrace awkwardness. Like being awkward is kind of cool in some circles these days. So it's almost like OG's like a real a cool icon for being awkward. Kawhi has a similar kind of vibe with this. They always talk about him and his laugh and him being really awkward. Like they played off of it in that Drake video where he's like the I'm too sexy and like they show him all of a sudden and he's like and Drake's like looking at him like, what the fuck is wrong with you, Kawhi? It's that cool awkwardness that like OG shares, like similar traits to Kawhi Leonard and stuff like that, which is pretty hilarious and stuff like that. So, yeah. So other just general news and notes. I saw yesterday Justin Champagny went to the pumps and he filled up his vehicle to go home because he was in Pittsburgh a couple hours later. But he filled up here in Canada, and the price at the pump was disgusting. I don't have a car, so I don't know what's going on with y'all and the oil prices right now, but I can tell it's messed up. Like that, there's some really greedy stuff going on with the oil companies right now, passing any of their costs because of the pandemic down to the consumer by raising oil prices. This is not necessary. They could eat this cost, but they're making the general public and the people eat the cost themselves. Meanwhile, they're still getting record profits, and that's part of the reason why. Well, Justin went and filled up his vehicle, and he spent $150 for and it worked out. I worked it out to gallons. I know I should have done it. It's like something like $9 a gallon for something like that. And that's absolutely insane. I mean, when I started driving in the 90s as a 16-year-old, we were buying gas for around $1 a gallon. And it's $9 a gallon right now. That is absolutely insane. And I can see why he was like, "What? This ain't right," is what he said on his IG. And I'm like, Justin Champagny, I'm with you. That you're going to the pumps and to fill up your vehicle, it takes $150 for you to drive back to Pittsburgh and all this kind of stuff. I am with you with that. Oh my gosh. And it's really crazy. G's saying it cost him $134 to fill up. Yeah, it is absolutely out of control and insane and obscene, honestly, because people are hurting already in all kinds of different ways. Like a friend of mine said yesterday that her landlord is raising their rent by $300 a month starting next month. And they can't live by themselves now. They have to go and find a roommate and live with them because they just can't afford things at this point. That is what these people at the top need to realize, that you are hurting families, you're hurting people's health, you're hurting people's ability to take care of themselves. And it's just pure greed to cover up your bottom line and your bullshit. Because what happens is the profits that they make from raising the gas prices, they go to the costs incurred, but they also go to buybacks. Stock buybacks, which used to be illegal, and it should still be illegal because basically they're inflating the value of their company by going back in and buying shares of it, buying back. And it really only helps shareholders and people that own the company. But otherwise, like it hurts everyone else. And in some ways, it's like a made up bullshit game of like nothing that's like just like the housing market was built on speculation and different things are speculative. This is a similar kind of thing. It's like fake money that they're making up and it just becomes part of their profit margin. And then it's really, really insidious because it is really one of the main ways that they transfer wealth right back up to the very, very richest people in the world. Is the 1%, is they do these stock buybacks. That in particular is one of the worst things for it. Tom Duke's saying $287, new record the other day, and lasts me a week. Got to pay to play. That is crazy. You must have a large vehicle, Tom. Yeah, that is just crazy to me. Yeah, I can see where BC is brutal. I mean, it's got to be brutal all over. Like I said, I feel so lucky that this hasn't, like, other than raising costs in general around me, that I don't have a vehicle, that I've lived in the city and I don't choose not to have a vehicle because this would really be hitting me hard and, in the pocketbook with the gas and stuff like that. So I really like that the guys, let me see real quick. What did you say? Tom Duke said 3/4 a ton truck hauling a trailer. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You drive a tractor trailer, Tom? Wow, that's cool. I love that. That's cool. I've always kind of wished to have a job like that because I really love driving. And I love being on the road. I don't mind being on the road for like 8 or 9 hours a day. Like I'm really, really into it. But I never really went into the route of a big tractor trailer and stuff like that. Who knows? Maybe I would have been in the truck convoy. Oh, it's for your landscaping. I see, because you got okay, yeah, because you got to carry the equipment with you. Okay, you so you're like my buddies down south that do a lot of landscaping and have the big long trailer with all the the mowers and the weed whackers and all that kind of stuff. Right on. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You couldn't drive all day. Yeah. I'm weird. I could do that. I really love driving. You put me in a car with a good radio and a stereo system, and boom, you need something driven somewhere across the country. I'll go straight there. Like I'll drive from Toronto straight to Texas. I don't care. I'm crazy. It's that kind of stuff that I do. Because I drove from Toronto to Tallahassee a couple times straight, like not even stopping. That's like a 20-hour drive. It's crazy. It's crazy, crazy drive. I don't recommend it. By the time you're coming from Toronto towards Tallahassee, near the south of Georgia, you start falling asleep where you don't need to be falling asleep, because that's when Roscoe P. Coltrane is sitting on the side of the road in his little speed trap in the little small counties in South Georgia. Look out. You don't want to be like dozing off when you get there, because they will be there to try and give you a ticket and help their economy in their small little Georgia town down there. Stuff like that. Okay, getting back to Raptor news, the Raptors put out a PR campaign yesterday about the gun violence in the States. And I'm really, really happy to see it. Scotty Barnes was starring in it, saying it's like, look, the gun violence does not stop at the border. And this is what basically they're right. And this is kind of in a way saying, like, look, states, your problems come over here. It's like the water overflows out of your cup into our country also, in particular to Toronto. That the gun violence in Toronto can most of the time be traced back to illegal guns that have come here from the States, because there's so many guns in the States. They come across the border and it's really bad. And I really commend the Toronto Raptors organization for making a big deal about it on this side of the border. That everybody, Stevie Roots is an idiot sometimes. Like, he pisses me off. I was like, we were talking about Black Lives Matter the other day. He said, well, Black Lives Matter doesn't matter up here. I'm like, bullshit, motherfucker, you're stupid. Black Lives matters around the whole entire world. That this isn't solely an American problem. That's happening with racism in the States. This isn't solely an American problem, the gun violence. That there can be gun violence in downtown Toronto. There can be people getting shot. In fact, we've had school incidents here in Toronto, and since the school shooting, like with kids coming to school with pellet guns. People, there was one kid, somebody got shot by the cops because of having a gun here in Toronto near a school in the last week. So listen, this problem does not stop at the border. And this is the message the Raptors are saying yesterday. And in some ways, it's really good, because we're getting a little ahead of ourselves to be ready just in case things get even worse. Is like, look, this is not solely an American problem. This is a problem that we need to look at also here in Canada. And that, sure, maybe it's partly part of the problem is coming from the America's problem, because it comes over here from their problems, but it's still something we need to have awareness of. And the way that the awareness is not just me talking about it right now or them making a PSA, is us understanding as a society, as members of Toronto, of Canadians, people, that we won't stand for this kind of stuff happening in our country, in our cities. That we do not want mass shootings, that we do not want this to happen, and that maybe the states are a little messed up with their gun control laws and fighting with each other over that stuff. And there's a lot of push pull. But here we're united, that we will not tolerate this, and that we will do the things that we need to do, whether it's in the government or as the people, to force change, to stop any kind of more increase in gun violence and gun deaths because of mass shootings. So this is really important. It may not seem like Stevie Russo said, well, this isn't our problem, gun shootings and stuff like that. Well, yeah, motherfucker, it is. Because we do have problems with shootings here also. And that we need to have the awareness, and all of us get together on it. And obviously we are all against it, and figure out how we can continue as a society in Canada to do a better job when it comes to outcomes with mass shootings. That the states have absolutely failed at this for a long time now. Like, the assault weapons ban was good. There was a whole period of time where things were better for a while. And then Bush is idiot. He let it lapse. And then things just went back to normal with this. They know what they could do to fix this. But the politicians in the United States are too deeply in the pockets of the NRA that they will not do anything and they will kill their own children instead. And that is absolutely fucked up. And like the people that are pushing, like the NRA lobbyists, the NRA themselves, the politicians that are in the pockets of the NRA, you are all going to hell. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, there's young children's lives that are basically blood on y'all's hands. You can act like you had nothing to do with it, and you can put any kind of logic in your own head, but the truth is out there and we all know it. And the important people know it, and that you guys are bad people and you will get your just desserts for being like this and capitalizing and making money off of the deaths of young children in schools. Yeah, you need to start getting your priorities straight. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Tom Duke has got an emoticon parade. I really love it. It's got a little red truck. It's got a police officer. It's got a police car, and it's got a couple sirens. Yeah. Okay. So are they chasing you? Is that you in the red truck? Are you getting pulled over for a ticket, Tom? Is that? I don't want that to happen to you. I'm gonna knock on wood. I don't want Tom getting any kind of tickets or anything like that. Well, all right, y'all. It's just a half an hour. Just a simple share the love club for OG Anunoby. Listen, he's such a weird enigma as a personality. He's such a quirky, cool dude. Like, what do you like about Texas? He didn't have an answer. I was hoping he'd just say barbecue. Just say barbecue, OG. But he didn't have an answer. And maybe that was more true by him saying that. All right, Race Mode Daily. Take care to you also. Yeah. So, y'all, all the best this weekend. Enjoy your time. Hopefully, you get some time outside and you get some really nice, relaxing weekend for you guys. And listen, once again, don't believe the hype that from Jake from State Farm with his little article about OG Anunoby this week. It's irresponsible and it's funny. He's like, he told Raptor fans, you can be mad at me, but I'm just reporting what I've heard. Well, you're also kind of adding one plus a little bit more to the equation than just what you heard. You're kind of extrapolating off of what you heard and kind of like making up shit otherwise, also, Jay. And that's the problem we have with what you said, honestly. Race Mode Daily saying, yeah, brother, you have a great weekend as well. All right, y'all. Yeah, it's really, really nice out there. And I'm going out to the cottage country today. So I'll see you guys tomorrow for a special report. I think tomorrow we're going to talk about the WNBA in Toronto and basically the schedule and how it's going to all go down if we get the expansion team later this season. And, maybe we'll talk a little bit about like what the name of the team should be and like different things like speculate maybe where they'll play, like stuff like that. And all right, guys, Tom Duke, peace out. All right, y'all. Be good and be happy and live well and be happy and thank you for watching. Please hit that subscribe button. Have a great weekend, y'all. Let's go, Raptors! 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 Raptors!